So I've just arrived in the Slovakian capital of Bratislava, and unfortunately for me, the airline has not delivered my luggage. My luggage has gone on a completely different trip to the one that I'm on, and it's not the first time that this has happened to me. In fact, if you spend any time traveling, I can promise you at some stage it's going to happen to you. It's really not all that uncommon. So I'm going to make a bit of a video here to give you some tips and tricks on how to handle this sort of situation and some of the things that I do when this happens to me. I spend something like 300 days of the year on the road, and with that sort of travel schedule, some of the tight connections that I have between transit flights, it just happens, and it's painful. It can be really painful. I've had to turn up to job interviews in the past, for example, wearing jeans and a t-shirt. But most people who travel and live this sort of a lifestyle understand that it happens, and they're fairly accommodating. So I'm going to give you a few tips and tricks and ideas on how you can handle the situation and what you can do about it. So before we get into the details, if you guys like the video content that we're making, if you're enjoying watching these videos, and I've had some very, very positive feedback from some friends and colleagues that they do, please do me a favor and hit the subscribe button down below, and also hit the like button there, and show that you're watching the videos and that you're enjoying the content. If you have anything in particular, if you have a particular place or a video that you'd like to see us make on any particular topic, just hit us with a comment in the comments section down below. Maybe it's a place that you'd like to see us make a video about, so maybe somewhere we haven't visited. We're always looking for new ideas. So just give us that feedback, and we'll do what we can to accommodate that for you. Okay. So you're standing at the luggage conveyor, and you're waiting and you're waiting and you're waiting, and bags are coming out, people are collecting their bags, and off they go. And then at a certain point, there's no more bags, and the conveyor stops, and you're standing there. Maybe you're standing there by yourself, maybe you're standing there with a couple of other bewildered looking people. And I can promise you, unfortunately, at some point in time, if you're doing any sort of reasonable amount of travel, it's going to happen. It's really not all that uncommon. I've lost count of the number of times that it's happened to me. It's a pain. It's unfortunate, but it's just one of the joys of traveling, unfortunately. So the first tip that I can give you is, first of all, don't check your luggage in. There's a saying, types of luggage. They have carry on and lost, and certainly with my experience with Airline. But the first thing to do is not to panic. This is it's not an unusual occurrence. The systems are set up to handle it, and so on and so forth. I can tell you, if you are going to lose luggage, the best airline that I've found to lose luggage with is actually KLM. They have a system where as soon as you land, and they know in advance that they've lost your luggage, they send you a text. The text has got a link in it. You click on the link, it takes you to a screen, and you can key in the details of the bag. You can tell it where you're staying, where your home address is, your phone number, your bag tag number. It's got in the system already. And boom, it's done straight away. You don't have to go and queue up and tell the person behind the desk what sort of bag you've got and all that sort of good stuff. So KLM, if you're going to lose luggage, do it with KLM. But if you're going to lose luggage with one of the other airlines, you're going to have to head for the lost luggage counter. Now, it's always best if you can get to the lost luggage counter first. Otherwise, there's going to be quite a queue. Today in Bratislava, when I arrived, the whole plane's luggage had been lost. So there was really quite a queue. And I noticed these automated machines sort of off to the side. So I ran straight over there, and I was the first one onto the machine. And I mean, it captures the same sort of information. So what they're going to want to know is the color of the bag, the brand of the bag, what sort of bag is it? Is it a soft bag? Is it an upright bag? Is it a hard covered bag? Is it a duffel bag? Does it have wheels? any sort of distinguishing features and so on and so forth. And it gives you some pictures, and it's pretty easy. You just select the type of bag that you have, so long as you can remember what your bag was, of course, and then away you go. Then it wants to know your bag tag number, your boarding pass, where you were traveling from, if you had a connecting flight beforehand, because sometimes the bag might have got lost during the connection, and not in this airline's care, if you like, or control. So it wants that information. It wants to know where you're staying so that it can deliver the bag to you, and it wants to know your home address. So you give all that information, whether you do it in the machine, you do it on the app with KLM, or whether you do it with a human being behind the counter with most other airlines. If you've got that information readily to hand, it makes life a lot easier. Please don't give the folks working at the counter there, stick. I mean, they know, they appreciate that it's not their fault, right? They didn't lose the bag. They're doing a job, and you treat them with a bit of respect, and they'll return that to you, and they'll try and get your bag to you as soon as possible. So they'll give you a little slip with a code on it and a website. URL to log on to. In my experience, you should log on to that as soon as possible and just fill in any other details there that might not have been captured. The other thing you should do is it will give you a phone number, and you should ring the phone number and just talk to them there also about your bag, what it looks like, the same sort of information that you've provided. I found that if you don't call, it just takes that little bit longer to get to you. And if you do call, it seems to somehow speed up the process a little bit. In my experience, it takes 2 to 3 days before your bag will get to you. I've even had the situation where, for example, I checked into a flight, I'd gone through immigration, everything, checked in my bags, sat in the lounge, and the flight got cancelled because of snow. In fact, all the flights got cancelled because of snow, and we all had to leave the airport. Now, my bag was still in that airport, but I couldn't get to it. So I had to go through the same process. I had to go to lost luggage, do all the sort of things, and it still took 3 days for me to get my luggage back. It just seems to be the standard. The exception, of course, again, was KLM. They somehow automated it with their app, and it got back to me a lot quicker than it does with the other airlines. So I'm not expecting to see my bag, unfortunately, till Monday. Which means that I'm either going to be a little bit smelly in the same clothes over the weekend, or I need to go and do a little bit of shopping. Now, in some instances, depending upon how long it takes for your bag to get to you, you can claim that back from the airline within some sort of reasonable limits. If you have to go and buy a toothbrush and some deodorant and a pair of knickers and a shirt or something like that, I think so long as you don't go overboard, you can claim some sort of reasonable costs if your bag is delayed by more than 24 hours. Now, it might pay you to just check that up on the airline's website before you go off spending thousands of dollars buying new gear. Again, be a little bit reasonable with your expectations. But if you've got to buy some stuff, you've got to buy some stuff, right? I mean, you can't wear the same old clothes for many, many days. You're going to start to smell a little bit. So there you go. That's my suggestions for how you should handle the situation. Don't panic. Get to the counter as fast as possible. Give them the information that they require. Get onto that website as soon as you can, and give them a call and just follow up and put a little bit of additional pressure on them to make sure that somebody's looking out for your bag. In my experience, 100% of the time that my bags have been lost, they've found their way back to me within 2, 3, 4 days. These days they've got pretty solid bag tags on them, and it would be highly unlucky if it got lost for good, and that's a whole other different animal. So anyway, look, I hope that's helpful for you. If it is, please click the like button below. Please subscribe to our channel. We appreciate any sort of feedback. If you have any stories of what you've been able to do, or how you've been able to handle this sort of situation, or maybe some horror stories, put a comment in the comments section down below. We'd love to hear from you, and perhaps share some advice, or share some horror stories. Anyway, we'll catch you a little bit later. Cheers. Bye-bye.